the consistency is where the magic happens, right? If you do that every single week, and these people, even if they don't even open it, they're just seeing Summers Capital, Summers Capital, Summers Capital over and over and over again. Now that you're building brand equity, you're building trust, and it doesn't cost you anything to send an email.
You could say the same thing about like a podcast or social media, hosting a meetup, the newsletter. You know, if you commit to doing a weekly podcast, same day of the week at the same time, every single week for 52 weeks for 1 year, after 12 months, it will change your life. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of The Reports. Today, I got someone who I met, maybe 17, 18, maybe 20 years ago even. Actually, I want to say about 21 years, man. Time flies. I went to college with this guy and super excited to have him on. I got my man, Oliver Graf. Oliver, welcome to the show.
Yeah, Rich, good to see you and happy to be here, man. Thank you.
Yeah, dude. Appreciate you coming on, man. We were in a fraternity together, TKE in college. And I think you were like a few years ahead of me. But I remember like being a freshman and rushing, and you were like one of the older guys in the fraternity, and yeah, I always looked up to you. So it was cool to have you on. And I didn't see you for like a long time, and then a year ago, you randomly like showed up at one of our Beers and Deals meetups.
Yeah, man. I just saw what you were doing. I was like, oh, I got to go check that out. And then saw you had a meetup coming up, and I'm always going to events and stuff, so it seemed like a perfect fit, and it was great to catch up.
Yeah. I was selling cell phones in college with Kingsley at the mall.
Yeah, me too.
Singular Wireless.
Yeah.
Were you like a T-Mobile guy, or is that
Dude,
Sam?
I worked at a lot of them. I mean, my main job in college was selling cell phones and just at the mall, out of the kiosks.
Dude.
And then
that's where like all my skills that I have today, like the fundamentals of everything that I'm doing today in business, whether it's like raising money, or like whatever we're doing, a lot of them stem from just me being in a kiosk at 18 years old, saying hi to strangers and slanging them cell phones.
Without a doubt. We say that all the time. It was some of the best sales training you could ever get.
Yeah.
Like, it's as hardcore sales as you can get, right? You're literally stopping people in the mall, trying to get them to switch services to your service. And, you know, you're pulling out the piece of paper, you're doing diagrams, you're just doing whatever you got to do to try to close the sale, throwing in accessories and stuff. And yeah, I mean, just, you know, making it a numbers game and learning to close.
I was actually kind of like a quiet person, like a little bit shy, I would say, around strangers especially. And then the 2 years in the mall, just like saying hi to strangers, I was like, oh, like I'm not afraid to talk to anyone anymore.
Yeah. It was a great experience. 100%.
Absolutely. So, you know, now you're a founder of Big Block Realty. You guys are doing big things, big numbers. But before all this stuff, before we jump into it, man, like what was your first taste of like real estate, man? When did you get into real estate?
So out of college, I got into the mortgage business because this was 03, 04, and everyone that I knew that was making money was in the mortgage business. So it was like, all right, I'm going to go give that a try. Had a good friend of mine, had a connection at Aegis Lending, which is now long out of business, and then worked at another place that was doing 125% loan to value second mortgages.
125% LTV.
Yeah. So if you had
and no doc,
there was doc stuff on that one.
but you could fill out your own doc.
Yeah. Later on, that kind of morphed into these exotic loan products that ended up becoming the problem of the market crash. Negative amortization loans where you could, there was 4 payment options. And the cheapest payment was a negative amortization, which put the difference onto your loan balance. So instead of your loan balance going down every month, it would be going up every month. And so there was just all these crazy loans. And we were just like, this can't go on. But everyone above us in these companies was like, yeah, real estate always goes up. It always goes up. So it's fine. And it was just like, well, okay, but it always goes up until it doesn't.
Yeah.
And then,
and at that time, because of the loan industry, people were just doing cash out refis and pulling money out, and people were refining like every 6 months, and the appreciation rate was crazy. And so some of the people that were new to the game probably thought, man, this is amazing.
Yeah.
It's gonna last forever.
Yeah. I remember the first big check I got, and I was just like, I couldn't even believe it was real. And then fast forward, you know, a few 2 years later, probably. And you just start thinking like, man, these loans are not, and then the market starts to slow down. These loans are not good. Like they're not you just kind of it just started to feel funny after a while, you know? And then we started looking into like, okay, well, what happens if the market does go down? What would happen? And what would happen is there'd be foreclosures and there'd be short sales.
Mm.
So we got a little bit ahead of the game in short sales, and we started doing a lot of short sales from like '08 to probably like 2010, 2011, when that started to dry up. And then that's when we ended up pivoting into big block.
So my first the first ever piece of real estate that I bought was when I was working the air traffic control job. It was 2011. I bought a short sale. It was a 4-bedroom house in Palmdale, California, and this thing had traded in 2006, brand new, for like 670,000, and I was able to pick it up for like 290 as a short sale, like 2 years later. But what the hell is a short sale?
So short sale is when the mortgage on the house is more than the house is actually worth. So in that time period, I'm guessing that whoever you bought it from probably had a loan for 550, 500,000, whatever, how much they put down. And the place was only worth, in terms of what it would appraise at, maybe 300,000. And so in order for the person to sell that, they would either need to come with cash, or they would need to let it go to foreclosure, in which case that's obviously worst case scenario. And then the other option, it was a loan modification back then, which not many lenders were doing, and then a short sale, which would basically be you would negotiate with the banks to reduce the sales price. They would have to take a haircut, but then they also don't have to take the property back. They don't have to put it on their books. They don't have to deal with the sales process and holding it and all that. So it ended up working out for all the parties.
So who would come up with the price? So the bank would say, "All right, borrower, if you can sell it, if you can give us this number, we'll take it, and you're not going to get a ding to your credit. And you can walk away scot free." That's basically what it was.
Yeah, they did take a hit on their credit,
Really?
but it was more of like a 12 to 24 month hit,
Okay.
as opposed to a foreclosure, which would be 7 years, massive drop in credit score, things like that. Short sales, from what we were seeing, were like 80 to 100 point hit to your credit. And then you could usually start building it back up pretty quickly. And then it would be completely gone after 2 years. But yeah, the way they were valuing them was just every month. I mean, back then the market was just going down. Like it was
Yeah.
every month was down, 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 down. So they were just trying to stay ahead of it and doing broker price opinions, BPOs, which would basically, they'd just send a realtor out or a couple realtors to give a broker price opinion. Then they'd average that out, and they'd kind of, whatever their formula was on the back end, they would approve it for a lot less than what was owed. They would have to take that loss, and the homeowner would get to walk away, in a better situation than a foreclosure.
Dude, it's crazy to think like how the real estate pricing in a lot of markets literally went down by like 50 to 70% in like a matter of like 18 months.
Yeah, dude, I'm kicking myself because I remember seeing Vegas condos like a few minutes off the strip for like 30 grand,
30,000?
35 grand. Like
That's
it was
insane.
insane how cheap they were, but no one was buying back then, so it was
And at those prices, and the rates being so low, I mean, you could buy stuff and hold it and cash flow with long-term rents in there. Crazy, dude. Yeah, I mean, looking back, I'm like, everyone's probably like, dude, I wish I would have bought up a lot more.
yeah.
But people were terrified. I mean, what was the sentiment like in 2009 where people were like, dude, like the prices just got rocked. It's going to go down further. Like people were scared, or like,
Everyone was scared. No one wanted to pull the trigger on buying because they were just, all the news was down, 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 down only. And so it was just, yeah, people were just scared, sitting on the sidelines. It also became a lot harder to get a loan. Because before that, it was like, if you could fog a mirror, you could get a loan, right? Like it was
Yeah.
so easy. You just, they don't even check your income. They didn't check anything. It was just the Wild West. And then after that, it was like, no, now you need 20% down. You need to prove everything. You need W-2s. You need this, that, and the other. So it just got way harder to get into a purchase.
Yeah. I remember when I picked up that property, it was 2011, and the listing agent, it was actually under contract. It was in escrow. And the listing agent was like, hey, I think this is going to fall out. Like the buyers are getting a little shaky. They're getting cold feet. And so sure enough, a week later, she hits me up. She goes, hey, they're going to sign the cancellation. Do you want to come in? And I was like, sure. So we just came in, same terms. And it was a home run deal. I'm like, I'm getting it for 40% of what this thing sold for 2.5 years ago. And I'm like, what were the people in front of me like? Why were they getting cold feet? It's kind of crazy to think about those prices. And now that property, I was looking at Zillow the other day. Like the Z estimate is like, I think I bought it for 290, and then I sold it for like 450 when I moved down here in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And now that thing's like Z estimates like close to 800.
Right.
I'm like, it's freaking crazy.
Right. In 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
It's wild. Yeah. A lot of people were getting cold feet back then. We used to actually submit a ton of backup offers. Like, oh, cool, you already got an offer. Great. Like, if that drops out, here's our offer.
Because people were just.
Yeah, because what happened is those deals took a long time to close. The banks would take 9 months to approve a short sale, a year.
That's what it was. I remember it taking a while. And
Yeah.
she said, if you come in the same terms, we can get it done quick.
Exactly. And so in that long time period, people have, their life changes, business changes, things change, and they would just walk away and be like, I don't want it anymore. And then we would be able to slide in there and get those, like, to your point, same terms, same everything, make it clean and easy. And then we'd be able to push those through pretty quick.
Dude, what's crazier to me is like what the environment is today with the rate environment. I mean, if you think the rates, more than doubled in the last 2 years, and a lot of these real estate markets, the housing prices are relatively untouched. I mean, we're seeing some slight discounts, 5% discount here and there, maybe a 10% discount here and there. But if you would have told me 2 years ago, hey, the interest rate environment is going to go from mid to high 2s to high 6s. I mean, a lot of this stuff I'm seeing, doing non-QM loans, you're looking at stuff in the 8s right now, right? Mid 7s. And if you would have told me we'd be at these rates for 2 years and pricing would not take a hit, I would have thought you were crazy.
Right.
I would have thought you were crazy.
Yeah.
But what's crazy about that is like, it's a testament to how strong the fundamentals of real estate are, the supply demand fundamentals. I've read different articles out there, but a lot of them say we're anywhere from 5 to 6, even 7 million housing units short of where the demand is. And then we have shifting demographics. We have baby boomers that are living longer. They're not selling their homes and going into retirement homes as early as they once did. And then we have these millennials that are starting families. They're buying their first homes. And then the Gen Z behind them, they're moving out of their parents' house for the first time and they're looking for apartments to rent. And I think because of like COVID, 2020, a lot of builders put a pause to new builds. And then right now with the rate environment, a lot of the new build stuff doesn't pencil out.
Right.
So
And construction
the cost to build,
costs are crazy.
construction costs. And so the new home starts are like all-time low. And so I'm kind of like looking at the writing on the wall. And then in addition to that, the Federal Reserve has printed 80% of the money supply in the last 4 years. And so, yes, we're in a high rate environment, and a lot of the money has been sucked out of the economy. Chips have been taken off the table. But once these rates normalize, I'm like looking at like the fundamentals and I'm like, dude, I'm licking my chops, man.
Yeah, I think the doors are going to blow off when I really do. Like I was just reading an article that, in 08, I think listing inventory was like, in the 1.5 million range. And I think right now we're at like 1.3 million. So we're even less than it was back then. And I just think when rates come down just a little bit, because there's a ton of people that I talk to that are, to your point, they're older and they're in a big house and they want to move, but it doesn't make sense for them to move right now because of the rates and all that. And same thing to people that, are younger and they just had a third kid or a second kid and now they need a bigger space. But again, it doesn't make sense to move because of all the stuff that we just talked about. So I do think that as soon as it just comes down a little bit, like there's a lot of pent up demand, a lot of pent up movement that it wants to happen as soon as it makes more sense. So to your point, the opportunity is now to get in there, build your business, build your network and just ride it out.
Yeah. If you love real estate investing, passive income, and tax benefits, but don't have the time, my company, Summers Capital, is buying boutique hotels right now. We source the deals, we renovate the properties, and we even handle all the day-to-day management, making it truly hands-off for our investors. If you want to learn more to see if we can help you, visit summerscapital.com/invest to book a call with our team. Again, that's summerscapital.com/invest. Now back to the show. Dude, it's crazy, man. I just decided to sell my my Cincinnati stuff. The first piece of investment real estate I bought was 11 unit building in Cincinnati. And I don't know, I'm a little bit sad to let that stuff go because it's like my early deals, but I'm just ready to move that equity and put it into San Diego. And so that multifamily market out there is hot. I listed that 11 unit property. I bought it for $350 and we listed it just under $800. and we had multiple offers. We ended up taking something with non-refundable EMD above 800.
Wow.
And I'm just like, wow. So like the multifamily market is like still hot as heck, you know?
So is that because the amounts you raised rents that you were able to get it up that high? You obviously cleaned it up, renovated it, raised rents.
Yeah, that's a lot of it. So like when I picked up the property, the rents were really low. Like this thing was like, I bought it from a slumlord. So when I say 350 for 11 units, like I think it was like 30,000 a door, 31,000 a door. Like this thing had like, it was disgusting. Like nothing worked. It was gross. And so cleaned it up. We took the one bedrooms were renting for like 400 and the two bedrooms were renting for like 600, and it basically like doubled the rents with a lot of these units, and kind of proved out the model and cleaned it up. And it still got upside. Like even with all the rent growth, there's still a lot more growth out there. And I
Yeah.
think Cincinnati is still a market that's kind of underbought right now. So I think it's a good asset. I that thing did really well for me, but I'm just like, dude, it's never going to be worth 3 or 4 million, right? So now I can 1031 that equity. I'm under contract on a 4-bedroom property in Mission Hills for 1.65. My team can manage it. We can get one of the few remaining short-term rental licenses left in the city. And that thing will, pay me every single month. And guess what? In 10 years, 15 years, that property here in Mission Hills will be worth $3 or $4 million, right?
Yeah.
Where that property in Cincinnati never will be.
Right. Yeah, and it sounds like you maxed out the value already for the most part. I mean, you probably left a little meat on the bone for whoever buys it next, but like to me, that's the name of the game. Like it's hard, it's your baby. It's like the emotional attachment. But like once you've done the renovations, done the raising of the rent, turned all the units, kind of brought it up to today's standard, then that's the time.
That's
That's
the
the time to
time.
let it go.
It is the
That's
time.
the time to roll it into something else and rinse and repeat.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And yeah, I mean, I think real estate's like, take the emotion out of it. And it is what it is. So I don't know. I'm excited for it, and I'm excited to get some more stuff out here in San Diego. I'm like, dude, there's only 800 licenses left in the city of San Diego for the short-term rental stuff. I don't know. People are sleeping behind the wheel. It's been 12 months now, but I'm like, I'll be kicking myself if I don't pick up a couple more before it's all said and done. So I'm excited for that one.
Yeah.
So you're doing a lot of stuff with Big Block, which I want to get into here in a minute. But are you also investing into real estate on your own?
Yeah. So I just sold actually my first multifamily building, which we bought in 2016. It was a 36 unit building out in Arizona.
Okay. Which
Same
market?
type of thing. It was, $400 a month rent at the
Mhm.
time for a 1 bedroom, 1 bath. And we went in there and really kind of like did all the stuff, right? Like we added lighting, there was a lot of issues with like people not feeling safe. So we like lit it up like a Christmas tree on the outside, and we got a security guard to come by every night, which kind of in the first 30 days like really dramatically reduced the amount of
Yeah, that's
nonsense.
big. Good
Um,
lighting.
so we did the pools. We here's another strategy that your people can use is we put in Wi-Fi into the whole building, because everyone was paying for Wi-Fi individually. And then so for $300 a month, we got an account that covered the whole building. And now those people were buying Wi-Fi from us. So now we could run that through to the income of the property,
Mhm.
which increases
I
the
love
value.
that. I love that.
But it just, little small stuff like that. But then, yeah, over the last several years, every time a tenant moved out, we would go in, turn the unit, make it better, bring the rents up to current market, and then had kind of the same realization you did. Like, there's not much more we can do to this thing at this point. So we ended up selling that about a year ago, and I rolled that into another deal out in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Erie, Pennsylvania.
Erie,
Okay.
Pennsylvania,
Okay.
right outside of
What'd
a
you
college.
What'd you guys buy?
It's also another 34 unit building. It's right outside of a college. Just, it made sense. We have a partner that's an operator that's on the ground there. So just kind of all lined up, and then we're just going to repeat the process out there.
Yeah. I love it, man. And I think whenever you like sell a deal, it's like, okay, it's another like full cycle deal, like on your resume, And so for me being relatively new, I've been in this game for only 5 years. Any full cycle deal that I can show on my schedule real estate owned, like, hey, successfully bought it, doubled the value, had a nice exit. It's great to show lenders. It's great to show investors. And, I think it just gives me more confidence moving forward,
Without a doubt.
because I remember getting in the game. Everyone's like, oh man, like it's too late to get in the game. This is like 2019. People are like telling me like, oh, like 2012, 2015 was the time to get in. Like, you're way too late to the game. Like, be careful. You're never going to make it work. And then like COVID happened, like 2020, everyone's like, oh, dude, like, do you regret buying? Like, you're going to take a bath. And then it's like 21 with the rates go down, it's crazy. And then 22, everyone's like, oh my gosh, the rates are going crazy. Like, we're going to see a big crash. And it's like, you figure it out, you figure it out. Things are gonna be thrown at you.
There's always a
And
way.
there's always a solution.
Always a way.
And, obviously there's going to be different strategies for different properties in different markets in different times, but there's always a strategy that's going to work. I think as long as you buy in good locations and you buy at a good price point, I think there's always going to be something that works. I think right now with this high rate environment, like for me, I need two things to buy a deal. I need one to be able to buy at a discount, and then two, I need to be able to add value, right? And so I think that strategy works. We're doing that with the boutique hotel stuff right now, and it's working good. So I just think there's always a strategy for the different time of the market cycle.
Yeah. I think adding value is the key statement there. I think that and there's tons of ways you can do it, right? Like with what you're doing with the boutique hotels, that's awesome. There's also student housing opportunities where I know a guy, he's buying 3-bedroom houses that are bigger square footage, adding walls to get more bedrooms, doing this near colleges and renting them out by the room. And he's taking, properties that would barely break even as a long-term rental, and he's getting, $2,000-$3,000 a month off of these properties as short-term, not really short-term, but rented by the room. So because he's renting them by the room, he's able to charge a lot more, and he's, it works in today's market, even with the higher rates.
Have you heard of the company Pad Split?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, they do kind of a similar model, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I think it was Pace Morby connected me to them or whatever, but I mean, I think it's a viable option for anyone that has kind of more like that C-class, single family home, and they're like, I want to make a little bit extra cash flow. I believe they even go in and like furnish your place for you, put in some like, some furniture, and then actually like supply the renters too.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I don't know much about that particularly, but yeah, I mean, it's all out there.
It's all out there.
It's crazy.
And the other thing is, man, like in real estate, there's like 150 ways to make money. Wholesaling, fix and flip, apartments, short-term rentals, mid-term rentals, and it all works. But I think the key is to like pick one or two things and then just get really good at that one thing versus, a lot of people, I think they get in and they get overwhelmed and they're like, oh my God, where do I start? And then they get into like fix and flip, and then they want to do this, and they kind of get spread a little bit too thin.
Yeah. Yeah, totally agree with that. I think pick your path, right? Like you get the choice, but like stick to one. Don't try to flip. I mean, flipping and wholesaling kind of go hand in hand, because a lot of people that generate leads for flips, they'll cherry pick the best ones and kind of wholesale out the others. So that makes sense. But if you want to do multifamily and do it right, or if you want to do boutique hotels and do it right, or you want to do student housing and doing right, or elderly housing, or any of these other niches that are out there, I think it's just like focus.
Yeah.
Focus on one and
absolutely
and master it.
I agree. So with Big Block Realty, man, tell me how this whole like idea came to fruition. This is like right after college, right?
So this is after short sales. We were in a mastermind with Robert Allen. I don't know if you know who Robert Allen. He wrote the book Multiple Streams of Income, which is to me one of the best business books of all time. And after reading that book and going to his mastermind, we were just like, man, like recurring revenue is basically like the premise of that book. And so we were kind of thinking, we wanted to do a real estate brokerage at the time. We wanted to not really do it the traditional way, in the sense that like we didn't like what the big boxes were doing, like, mandatory floor time and mandatory meetings and all these fees and this, that, and the other. And then the other option was kind of like the real estate model, which was kind of popping up at the time, which was very much like a rent-a-broker kind of service, like very low fee, but there was no support. It was don't call us, we'll call you, not a lot of value, right? You're not paying a lot, but you're not getting a lot. And so we wanted to really kind of find the sweet spot of how do we deliver maximum value and still put the most amount of money back in the agent's pocket. And that's where the whole Big Block model kind of started.
Dude, I love that, man. And so, starting a startup, there's a lot of work that has to go into it. You got an idea, you got a concept, and then it's like, okay, let's roll this thing out. And there's a lot of pivots along the way, which I know But what was like the original kind of model when you guys rolled it out, and how did you guys go out in the marketplace and get your first group of customers?
Yeah, so the original plan was let's just do $300 a month and we're going to offer all the things that we wanted as the time, right? Cuz this is stuff that like we were looking for as well. Like we were kind of the short sale thing was drying up. We were like what are we trying to figure out what we want to do next? We didn't really like a lot of the big box options. We didn't really like a lot of those real estate
Mhm.
options.
What time frame is this?
This was 2011.
Okay.
And so we came up with the idea, what if we just did a $300 a month flat fee? That $300 a month would get you brokering, support. We came up with the idea of an agent concierge, which is basically like anything you need, you call us and we're going to figure out a way to make it happen.
So give me an example.
So I'll take a half step back and then I'll give you an example.
Okay.
So we read the book. I'm blanking on the name of the book, but it was written by Tony Hsieh, the founder of Zappos. Zappos is like world famous for having the best customer service, and they're a company that sells shoes. But you can call them and be like, "Hey, I need to order a pizza or for a client party that I'm having," and they'll like literally help you with that kind of stuff, even though it has nothing to do with selling shoes at all. So we were like, what if we could really just deliver massive value through an agent concierge? And the idea was, you call us and we're going to help you with whatever you need. And so it started with, like, call us if you need a reservation for a meeting or if you need a this or a that. And then we also had a broker hotline, which was more like anything transactional related. So you need help on a transaction, you got an issue, you need to know how to fill out a contract, that kind of stuff.
That's kind of nice. So it's like for a newer agent, you almost got like your own secretary or assistant that's setting
Right.
the appointments.
Yep.
And then if you need guidance on how to put together contracts and all that sort of thing, you guys provide that as well. So it's a little bit of mentorship.
Yeah, exactly. And then we also wanted to build a culture around that. So we did like monthly socials. We were all about like having fun, which at the time in real estate was like no one was really doing that. Like there was obviously like networking events and stuff, but they were like really stuffy and really like not fun.
Mm.
And, we had thrown a lot of events in college through the fraternity and other
Mhm.
things, as you
Yeah.
know. So we were like, we want to bring that fun energy to the real estate space. So it's kind of that combination of things that kind of helped us get started. And then in terms of like how we did it, it was me and Sam in a room dialing for dollars all day, just calling realtors like, "Oh, hey, have you heard of Big Block Realty? Oh, no, you haven't? Oh, let me tell you about it." And then it kind of just, snowballed from there.
Dude, that's crazy, man. So like, did you guys do like a little pre-launch? Like, hey, we're going to go out and get, 20, 30 agents and then we're going to launch this thing?
Yes and no. Like we had a group of agents that we were doing all the short sale stuff with, so it was they were kind of like the beta test for everything. And then from there, it was just like, let's see what we can do to add more, add more. And then as it started to grow, just figuring out the staff pieces that came next to offer the best support for the least amount of money to help the agents become the most profitable.
Did you guys have an office out the gate or did you guys do that later?
So we had an office. It was actually a split office at the beginning.
Like a co-working space?
Not a co-working space, but there was multiple businesses in one office. And then we ended up getting a really small office off Arrow Drive, back where the Chargers used to play. And then, as we started to grow, just every couple years, we started getting bigger and bigger offices. And
Where are you guys at now with offices?
now we have over 1,200 agents. We have 4 corporate owned offices, and then we have another probably 6 to 8 that are either franchisees or
Oh, you
different
guys franchise Big
different
Block.
partners. Yeah.
Dude, I had no idea.
Yeah. We just started doing
Okay,
that.
okay. I got a lot of questions about that. But so like what was the biggest you guys ever got to in terms of like overall agents number?
Probably about 1,400.
And you're at 12.
Now we're at 12.
That's
Yeah.
not bad.
No, it's good. And
Considering all the
honestly,
agents that have left the
it's a
industry.
lot of a function of the market, right? Because the market, as soon as it gets tough, people start getting out of the business. So a lot of people have gotten out. A lot of like the part-timers and like the soccer mom agents, they've all kind of exited the business. And but again, to me, that's the opportunity for those of us that are still here doing
Yeah.
our thing.
So tell me about the idea to franchise this thing and talk a little bit about how that's going.
So yeah, so we looked at different growth models, like how do we want to, expand outside of California, outside of our major markets. And, it was either, do we want to go the corporate owned direction or do we want to do the franchise direction? At that time, we were in a mastermind called War Room. You might have heard of it.
Yeah. Who runs that one? Is that
So that was Ryan Dice, Frank Kern, Roland Frazier, and Perry Belcher at the time. They've now all split up and they have separate masterminds. But at that time, it was really an awesome group. And there was a couple people in there that were big in the franchise space that we were able to connect with. And they were kind of asking us about our business and how we were looking to grow it. And then that's where the franchise model kind of came to light.
Yeah. Dude, I those masterminds are huge in like the community for like just what you mentioned. It's like, okay, you guys are interested in going franchise model, but you never done it before. But then to have connections of people that actually have done it at a high level that you can just go to for all the Q&A, but like just guidance is like huge. And, I don't know, for us, for me personally, like I'm in 4 masterminds as like a member, and then we have our own boutique hotel mastermind. And it's just the community and the networking that you get out of it. The resources is just huge. I know if I got a question about anything, then I'm like, oh, I've never done this before. I can plug in any of those masterminds, and there's someone in there that's done it at a high
That can
level
help
already.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
huge.
we always say, because they're expensive to join, right?
Yeah.
And so you got to weigh, like, am I going to get enough value out of this, or am I going to save enough money out of this to make it make sense? And for us, the answer was always yes. Like, you can not pay and try to figure it all out yourself, which is going to cost you in time and energy
money.
and mistakes and
Yeah.
money. Or you can pay to join the group to get access to the people that have the answers or have dealt with the problems that you're facing. And then you're basically, either way you're paying, it's just, are you paying for the shortcut or are you paying in time and money and
Yeah.
resources and mistakes?
Yeah. I completely agree. Who was the gentleman that we had on? I'm drawing a blank. He lives in La Jolla, and he's got a big mastermind. I thought it was the War Room, but maybe it's not.
Boardroom?
Yeah. Oh, it's the Boardroom.
Kent Clothier.
Kent Clothier. Yeah.
Shout out Kent Clothier.
Yeah.
Good
Okay.
buddy.
So Boardroom and War Room, very similar.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Kent's a good dude. He
Really
came on
good,
like
yeah.
6 months ago.
Yeah.
In La Jolla, but very good dude. And I love talking shop with that dude. But anyhow, so then you decide to franchise. What is the first step if you decide to franchise? You gotta go find you gotta really get your systems and processes down so you could teach it to someone, right?
Right. Yep.
And so was there a lot of back
SOPs
end
for
there?
everything? Yeah. We use Scalable, which is like an operating system for entrepreneurs, similar to EOS. So it's basically like helps to systematize your business, build your SOPs. They have coaching that comes with it and all that. So we went through that process, and then obviously like all the legal stuff and making sure, because franchise law, there's a lot of things you can and can't do that are very, spelled out that the legal team needs to help figure out. But yeah, and then that's it. And then finding the right partners and things like that.
What are you guys selling those franchises for?
So right now they're $25K to lock up a territory plus the rev share. And then, yeah, we're looking for good partners. I think that's the main thing, is getting the right people in the right markets for it to make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think that sounds like a pretty huge opportunity for someone out there that is maybe in a good market that needs something like that. So model, to touch on, the model was basically the agents, they don't have to pay any sort of split. They get 100% of their commissions, and then basically $300 a month, or if they pay up front, they get a discount, right? Is that basically the model?
Yeah, there's a couple different plans, but basically it's membership based. So they pay to be a part of the brokerage, and then they get all the value that we offer for the least amount of money possible, which again, so our whole philosophy is, let's figure out how we can put the most amount of money back in the agent's pocket so that they can go and reinvest in their business, free up their time, hire staff, outsource tasks, all of those things, which helps them sell more houses and then helps us grow as a company.
Yeah. To me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, if I left everything I'm doing right now, and tomorrow I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go try to become the best agent I can possibly become. To me, why would I give away 30%, 40% of my commission? I see a lot of these agents, even newer agents that are on teams, they're giving up 50% of their commission. I'm like, that's freaking crazy to me.
Yeah.
Why do people do that?
I don't know. It's a good question, but come see us.
Yeah.
We'll help you out with that.
I'm like, that's
for sure.
That's just like free money, or you're just like giving away. Yeah, I understand if you're getting some mentorship, but
Yeah,
I
listen,
mean,
I don't want to dog anyone else or how they do it or any other models, but what we found is that there's multiple ways to do it, right? And you have to just deliver value based on what you're getting, right? But if you're on a 40% split at a brokerage and all they're doing is providing a desk and not really any mentorship, not really any training, not a lot of support, then yeah, why would you do that, right? On the other side of the coin, if they're like coaching you and giving you leads and giving you resources and helping you become better, then they have a vested interest and they're earning that split, right? So it really just it's a value equation, and for us, we want to be give the most value for the least amount of money
yeah,
to the agent.
I love that. I'm always curious, like something that I always ask myself is like, how come more real estate agents they don't get into like buying real estate? I'm like, you could represent yourself on the buy side, so you get to roll that into your down payment. A lot of this stuff you can buy for FHA 3.5% down, or even some of these credit unions do no money down, and then you get an opportunity to own a piece of real estate, and then because you're a full time real estate professional under the tax
The
law,
tax
you get to
advantages.
qualify for all that depreciation, get a cost seg study, use that to offset your active income as an agent. It's almost like free money they're leaving on the table. And so I'm always curious, like it blows my mind, like how many agents don't actually buy real estate. Cause I mean, that should be the end game for all of them. Is it because like the brokers aren't doing a good job of teaching it to the agents? Or what do you think the reason is?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a question I ask myself all the time. I mean, we're big on training our agents on how to do that.
Hmm.
But in terms of why they don't, I don't know. I think it's maybe a fear thing, or they're worried about getting burnt, or I don't know. I mean, insert any excuse here. Like, really, it just none of the excuses are good. None of them make sense. And yeah, they should be buying and they should be investing. And even if they pool their money together and do it as a group, right? There's lots of, to your point, ways to skin the cat in real estate and
Hmm.
make money.
Yeah. I didn't know this until recently, but if you actually, let's just say you're a full time like W-2 employee, if you actually marry a full time realtor jointly, you will actually qualify for professional real estate status under the tax code, from how I understand it. And then you guys can both use depreciation from whatever real estate you guys buy to offset a lot of your income, which is pretty
Yes.
crazy to think about.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am obviously not a CPA, but yeah, that does exist, and I think everyone that potentially could take advantage of it should.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. It's interesting to think about. I feel like whenever I tour a lot of these like local residential stuff here in San Diego, a lot of the listing agents, they're looking at, oh, how do the curtains look? What does the view look like? And they're talking about the decor and the design, but they're not talking like numbers or like thinking bigger than that.
Yeah, well, here's a simple one, right? So one of our agents a little while back was on a listing appointment with a fourplex. The family had owned it for, I don't know, like 60 years or something crazy. And they were at the point where they just wanted to get out. They were like, whatever, like, and any amount over this number is fine. Call it 850 grand or whatever. Well, the agent saw the value in that and he was like, well,
Let me
at
tie it
the
up.
listing appointment, he was just like, well, would you be willing to sell it to me at that price? Great question to ask,
Yeah.
right? And they were like, yeah, we would. And he's like, great, I'll send over the contract, and literally bought it at the listing appointment,
Wow. I
right?
love that.
And every agent that's out there at some point in your career, you're going to come across a deal like that.
Hmm.
You're going to come across the crappy old house in the neighborhood that people have forgotten about or someone inherited and they just want to get rid of it. Like, that's the opportunity to say, hey, can I buy it at that price? And then now you got yourself a deal. You're buying below market. The family. You've got rapport. Like
It's
it makes
huge,
it
dude.
easy.
It's
Yeah.
huge. And you're right. That's the good idea is like you have access to all these listing appointments and you know what's a good deal, what's not a good deal. You're looking at this stuff every single day. You know where the pricing is. And so, yeah, man, I'm shocked that more people don't do it. But, I try to encourage my team members. I'm like, hey, pick up some stuff. Let's make some moves. If
Yeah.
you need a partner, let's do it. I'll help you guys.
Yeah. That's great.
Everyone should be doing it.
Yeah, for
It's,
sure.
it's part of the game. So, dude, so with Sam, I haven't talked to him since college either. So you guys are co-founders and partners on Big Block. What kind of role do you play and what kind of role does he play?
So me and Sam, for those that know, are very different, right? Like he's personality wise, very expressive, outgoing, loves to speak on stage, loves to be the front man type thing. And I'm more of a behind the scenes kind of guy. I'm not trying to be all up in the video
You're on a podcast
and
right
all of
now.
that.
We're on
Yeah.
video.
Yeah, no. But the reason that that's worked out so well is because like the skills that I have are the complete opposite to what the skills he has,
You guys complement each other.
which I think is important in any partnership. So it ends up working really good because, you know, I'm able to do the operational back end kind of integration stuff, and he's able to focus on the sales, the speaking, the training, the growing, all of that. So it works out really good.
I love that. So I think with any partnership, and I've been in a handful of different partnerships. Being in a partnership like you mentioned, where you guys complement each other, is the best way to do it. But partnerships can be tough, you know. And so the idea that you guys have been together for what, 15 years now.
Yeah.
You guys know each other for longer than that. Did you guys meet in college?
We did. We met in the same fraternity that we met in, and you know, we have a joke kind of around the office that we've literally made every dollar together. Like right at even in college, we were doing events. We were making money on events. After that, we sold T-shirts. We were making money selling T-shirts. Then we both got in the loan business at the similar time, and then we both got our real estate licenses at the same time, and started doing short sales together at the same time. So it's been like a long journey where basically we've been working together ever since college, and it's just
Dude, you guys used to throw some bangers in college.
yeah, we did. Yeah. We had
Yeah.
some crazy parties, some crazy times. You know, that's what college is all about.
Yeah, it was definitely good times up there. Cal State San Marcos,
Yep. Shout out to CSU San.
CSUSM. I was the first person to live in the dorms there in fall of 2003, the UVA dorms. And man, it was a good time. I never thought I would like rush a fraternity, but then
Same.
I was like kind of a newer school,
Yeah.
and I was like, I didn't know anyone. And then it was like rush week or whatever. And I was like, yeah, these guys look pretty cool. And I went to like a rush party or something. I was like, okay, these guys are cool. I want to do it. So that's how it all kind of began.
Same. I have the same story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Small school, not a lot to do.
Uh-huh.
Made sense.
Yeah, it did make sense. Do you still keep in contact with a lot of the folks from college?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I actually just spoke to Carl Gailey last week. I don't know if you
Okay,
remember
that sounds
Carl.
familiar. Was he in the fraternity?
Yeah, his family owned like the dairy out there, and they're looking to do some stuff on some property. So talked to him, and then yeah, still in touch with a lot of the guys actually.
Okay.
So it's nice.
I
I just went out there, by the way. I don't know if you've been out to Cal State San Marcos lately,
no,
but
I haven't.
it is
I haven't.
it's 10 times bigger than it was when we were
Really?
there. Yeah, it's nuts.
Is it bigger as well as like in terms of enrollment too?
I think so. From what I've heard, they're trying to be the biggest state school by 2040.
Really?
Which is, yeah, if you imagine, I mean, you know how many big schools there are.
Yeah.
They're trying to go real big.
Damn, biggest
No.
state school, and we're talking like out of all California.
Yeah.
So, and there's some big schools in there.
Yeah.
SDSU is pretty
Yeah,
big.
yeah. Imagine
Fresno
SD
State, Chico. Damn. By 2040. So they're
we'll
going
see.
for it.
So that's
I
a hot
saw-
tip. Buy real estate out there.
Yeah. I've actually seen a lot of the real estate prices out there have been like freaking through the roof since I started going there in 2003. I guess it's been 21 years, but yeah, I agree. I mean, North County, bullish. And they got Palomar up there, which is a
Right
really big
across the
school as
way,
well.
Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting. I saw their basketball team was like D2 now or something. I was like, oh, I've come a long way. Because I think they didn't even have a basketball team when I went there.
They didn't have any sports.
And then I think like later on it was like NAIA. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then I saw recently they're D2. I'm like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So they're making some
Making
splashes.
moves, yeah.
Yeah. Is the fraternity, because I remember when I was in it, I was pretty active like the first couple of years, and then I kind of faded out the last couple of years of school. But we got kicked off campus, I want to say my sophomore year.
Yeah.
I think we had like someone rushed, and there's a little bit of alcohol involved. One thing led to another, and all of a sudden we were not on campus anymore.
Yeah. That's basically how I remember it as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
I don't know the details, but as far as I know, they're still off campus.
Yeah.
So
it's
shout out
crazy.
to all the teaks out there.
Yeah. But dude, that was a fun time, man. I still talk with John Barry. Shout out to John Barry.
Nice.
Still
What
talk
up,
to
John?
him. Raz, I still talk to.
Oh, nice.
But that's really it, dude. I don't keep in touch with a lot of those folks,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
tough, man. It's time and distance and opportunities and all the things.
Yeah. Yeah, life gets busy, dude. So moving forward, man, what are you most excited for moving forward? I know you got the property management arm of the business. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we're growing the company and have plans for that. We're looking at, raising money and doing some acquisitions of other brokerages hopefully in the next couple years. Also really excited about the software that we've been building, which is called Suite Assist.
Okay, what's that?
So Suite Assist is twofold. It's two products. One is a broker product, and it does all of the not sexy stuff that brokers need to do, like compliance and managing different commission splits for different agents and 1099s and bookkeeping and all of that. And then the other side of it is the agent facing product, which is called Referral Suite, which is basically just designed to help agents get more referrals from their database. Right now, there's not really a tool that's specifically done for that. It's kind of like a piecemeal of lots of different tools. So we kind of created an all-in-one that does like video email, it does text, it does direct mail, kind of set it and forget it direct mail. There's fresh social media content every month that comes with Canva templates that they can edit and scripts to shoot videos. And so it's really like an all-in-one done for you solution for generating referrals from your database.
That's pretty cool. Is it an app too?
We're working on making it an app. It works on mobile. Right now, it's not an actual app that you download in the App Store, but that will be coming soon.
That's dope, dude.
So here's a crazy stat, right? Like National Association of Realtors says 80% of a realtor's business comes from their direct sphere of influence. It's not paid ads. It's not social media. It's not open houses. It's not marketing. It's literally from the people that know you, like you, and trust you. So the other crazy stat on that is they also say that the average agent, the average home buyer or seller forgets their agent's name within a year, because most agents, when
Don't
they
follow
close
up.
a deal, there's zero follow-up. There's no thank you call. There's no bottle of wine. There's no nothing, right? So that to me is the challenge and the opportunity. And that's where Referral Suite comes in, because it really automates a lot of that, and it allows them to be omnipresent with their database, which is where they get the majority of their deals, and so they don't get forgotten. So we hit them from, like I said, emails, video emails, text, direct mail, all the things, social media.
Yeah, all the touch points are big, man. I mean, it's not just social media, but I think, just having the week, we do like a weekly newsletter. We call it SC Weekly. So everyone in our ecosystem, it's like they get an email blast. It's like what we're up to for the week, photos, what we're up to, meetups and all that sort of thing. And I think it's a good way to just kind of stay top of mind. And I think any agent can be doing that. That's simple.
And should be doing
Yeah,
that, right?
that's
And
simple.
the hard part is, like, you're not going to be able to quantify the results on that right away, right? And sometimes you're probably like, man, I don't want to do this stupid email today. Like, I'm so over it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But it's got to be a non-negotiable.
But it's got to be a non-negotiable, and it's what happens with the consistency is where the magic happens, right? If you do that every single week, and these people, even if they don't even open it, they're just seeing Summers Capital, Summers Capital, Summers Capital over and over and over again. Now that you're building brand equity, you're building trust, and it doesn't cost you anything to send an email.
You could say the same thing about like a podcast or social media, hosting a meetup, the newsletter. I always tell folks in our mastermind, I'm like, look, if you commit to doing a weekly podcast, same day of the week at the same time, every single week for 52 weeks for 1 year, social media content daily for a whole year, the weekly newsletter, and then a monthly meetup every single month for 12 months. After 12 months, it will change your life.
For sure.
But most folks are not willing to do it.
Or they won't do it long enough, right? They'll do it for a month or two and they'll be like, oh, it didn't work. I didn't get any deals, and they'll move on. But it's really month 7, 8, and 9
where you get traction,
where the phone starts to ring and your name really starts to get out there.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly, dude. That's crazy, man. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming on and talking shop, man. Always a pleasure catching up. I've always been a big fan of everything that you're doing, and I wish you and Sam and everything that you guys are doing with Big Block, I wish you guys nothing but the most success. And dude, we've got to have you guys out. Love to have you out on a yacht meetup sometime this summer,
Let's do it,
dude.
man. Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah.
We got to figure something out, man. We're too close together. So
Yeah, absolutely. You're in Carlsbad?
Yeah,
Oh, that's right up the road, man.
Right up the road.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Oliver, where can the folks get in touch with you?
So I got a podcast as well. It's called Founders Club. You can check that out on all the platforms and YouTube. And then I'm at Oliver Graf 360 on all of the socials.
I love it. I love it.
GRAF1F.
Where does this 360 come from? From the snowboarding days?
Yeah, a lot of people think that, but like everywhere I was trying to get, early in the social media days, I was trying to get a handle that made sense, and Oliver Graf was always taken. So I was like, man, I need to add something to it. And at the time, Anderson Cooper 360 was
Oh,
a
I like
big
that.
show.
I like that.
And I was just like, oh, it sounds like worldwide. It's short, so I don't have to add a lot. And
It's
so,
sketchy. I mean, you got me talking about it, bro.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Oliver Graf 360.
Well, there it is. He's Oliver Graf. I'm Rich Summers. Listeners, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.